Hey everyone, so this video is going to be talking about some ASICS running shoes. Hey Callie. And specifically I'm going to be focusing on the latest iteration of the GT2000 series. This is the GT2013, some very early initial impressions. But as well as that, I'm going to also talk about comparing it to the Kayanos. Now the latest Kayano is the Kayano 31, which I don't have. But I did buy the Kayano 30s, and I have run in them for now just a little bit over a year. So this will also serve as a little bit of an update on how they held up for running in them for about, give or take, around 500 miles over 13 or so months. So a few things to unpack here. I'll try to keep it as straightforward as possible, and hopefully you'll find this information useful. If you like it, I'd really appreciate the like and subscribe. Stay tuned. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the GT2013s. So these are the latest iteration of the GT2000 model, iteration number 13. For this version, some stats for you. Men's size 9 weighs in a little less than 10 ounces, around 9.5 ounces or so, or about 270 grams. Stack heights, we've got, I believe, according to the website, 36 and a half millimeters in the heel and 28.5 in the forefoot. You can double check me on that and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. So that's about an 8 millimeter drop. The upper is made of a nice engineered mesh. Okay. We have a nice bevel here on the back. It's a nice wide bevel. The overall shoe footprint is a little bit on the wider side, which is good for a stability shoe. Some of the technology in here has not changed too much from the GT2012 model. We still have the Flight Foam Blast in the forefoot, and we still have the Pure Gel as well, making for a very cush and comfortable ride. Compared to the Kayano is going to be even more cushy than this. Because of the stack height being a little bit lower, you know, you're not going to feel as much cushion, but you do have that only 8 millimeter drop instead of a 10 millimeter drop, which to me it doesn't seem like it would make much of a difference, but this shoe just feels faster, more nimble, and as far as like transitioning with the toe off when you're running, I don't know the correct word for it to describe it, maybe just kind of bouncier, snappier, better energy return, in my opinion, and a little bit better ground feel for a shoe that's got a ton of cushioning anyways. We have a nice heel tab here, or heel pull to help you get the shoe on and off. This is very early for my impressions. I've only put about 15 miles on these shoes since I bought them, so they're still very brand new. About half of that running has been on pavement and the other half has been on a treadmill. So, but very comfortable, no hot spots. As far as the build of the shoe, a little bit more on that. We have a nice kind of plush padding around the ankles here. The tongue is gusseted. I know this is probably hard to see, but the tongue is very kind of thin and gusseted. Wasn't sure about that initially, but I actually kind of like it. It doesn't really need a whole ton of padding. Compared to the Kayanos that I was running in for the past year, this does have a lower profile, and the toe box itself seems to be a little bit narrower than the Kayano. Since I have a low volume, wide foot, I thought that might be a little bit of an issue with the width of my foot, but because my foot's low volume, the lower profile doesn't really affect me. It's not really a problem. So that is something to consider. If you've got a really high arch and a really high volume foot and it's wide, then definitely, you know, give it a try first. They do come in wide widths as well, so that is a good thing. The entire outsole looks to be that AHR plus material, that more durable rubber from ASICS, which is a good thing. It definitely does hold its own against wear and tear. The GT2000 has this 3D guidance system. I don't know if you can read that on the camera as well, to give you that stability that you need. Not going to be quite as much stability as the Kayano, of course, but in my book, it is plenty of stability. Even if you don't overpronate a whole ton, some people just like stability shoes. I like them because when you're going longer distances, greater than, let's say, 10K, I find the stability to be very helpful, and I just like it. So, early impressions, really like them so far. The last time I ran in GT2000s, I think I was using the GT2009 model a few years back, and then I started running in the Kayanos. Did run in Brooks Glycerins for about a year. Still like the Glycerins too, so you know, you'll never know. Maybe I'll get a second pair of those. Okay, so that's the GT2013 in a nutshell. Early impressions. Hopefully I'll get back to you with a update on how they're holding up in a few months. So now I'm going to talk about comparing them to the Kayanos. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so I have brought my Kayano 30s that I've been running in for about 13 months now, a little over a year, give or take probably around 500 miles of running over that time period, mostly on pavement and or treadmill, and a little bit of light trails sprinkled in with that as well. As far as the Kayano 30 versus the latest model, the 31, not a whole lot of huge changes. Mainly the material on the upper, I believe, might have changed. Also on the Kayano 31s, unlike the 30s, the 31s do have a pull tab similar to the GT2000s, making them easier to put on. But as far as the midsole and the outsole, virtually the same structure. So unlike going from the Kayano 29 to the 30, where it was basically a whole overhaul, the 30 to the 31, not as big of a change there. So some stats about the Kayano 31. Again, don't quote me on this. You can double check the ASICS website if you want. I believe the size 9 in men's comes in at about 305 grams, or that's about 10.7 ounces. The heel height, stack height, 40 millimeters, I think it said, and the forefoot, I think it was 30 millimeters. So definitely a little more cushioning, but a little more drop than the GT2013. So that drop on the Kayano 31 is going to be a 10 millimeter drop. Okay. Early on, so my initial impressions review on the Kayano 30s, I think I might have said something along the lines of, you know, it's got a lot of cushioning, it's got a wide outsole. It's almost, I think I might have said something along the line of, it's almost too much, kind of feels clunky at times. So that's been my opinion throughout the 13 months that I ran in the Kayanos. If your priority is cushioning, I just want the most cushioning ever, and for that cushioning to last for tons of miles and still to be wonderful, I mean, yeah, the Kayano. Because of the size, I think, I don't know if it's just the geometry and the size of the outsole or just this much cushioning, it just, on my runs, though, you know, the cushioning is nice, was nice, it just didn't feel quite as snappy and it felt kind of sluggish. I know it's not meant to be a racing shoe, it's not meant to be a super fast shoe, but it was just a little clunky on my runs, but I do enjoy the cushioning too. Over those 13 months, so my Kayano 30s, I wore a hole in that left toe over time. That's happened to be a couple times with some of my running shoes. Outsole still looks pretty good. Okay. The main difference, so some differences here. So now that we'll compare it a little bit to the GT2000. Some main differences besides the stack height. I said that the GT2000s are a little bit narrower. So here's a comparison, just kind of showing you the GT2013 and the Kayano outsole together. So the main difference you'll see is the Kayano is definitely wider here in the midfoot, and that is because the GT2000 has that 3D guidance system, and the Kayano's got this like insert, the 4D guidance system. So in other words, more stability. The 31s, the Kayano 31s, still have the same 4D guidance system. The outsole is the same shape. The tread pattern is a little bit different on the Kayano 31s, but other than that, that whole midsole, outsole is pretty much held the same. So yeah, GT2000 a little bit narrower, lower stack height, less of a drop. So this results in that GT2000, like I said, just feeling snappier, more responsive, faster to run in, lighter. It is lighter weight. Okay, that's objective. So yeah, overall, I don't think you can go wrong with either shoe. It's just, you know, what do you want to prioritize? I think the GT2000 is going to be a little more versatile. It's going to be a little faster. It feels faster. That's subjective for everybody, though. The Kayanos, if you're prioritizing cushioning over all else, then I would probably go with the Kayano. So the Kayanos, like I said, they're the top of the line for ASICs. They retail around 160 bucks, give or take, and the GT2000s retail around 140 bucks, give or take. But they both have unique attributes about them, and they're both stability runners. It's just maximum stability, maximum cushioning, or, you know, something that's got almost as much stability and cushioning, but will probably serve you better in different roles, faster type workouts as well. So that's about it. Hope you find this information useful, and I guess I will see you guys later. Take care.